You're listening to the Telltale Channel. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Apparently there's this lady who called a kid the N-word, and I guess got called out for it by this guy who's filming, and pretended to be a victim and posted to a crowdfunding thing. I'm not sure what crowdfunding thing she was on, but she's made $500,000. $500,000 in crowdfunding for calling a kid the N-word. Seriously. What the f***? Just watch this video. This is the video that of her doing it.
You call
I'm hoping it's censored. I think it's censored.
you call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him. Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say.
Oh my God, dude. The moral decay of this country is just wild to watch unfold. I said this previously. I believe that we are going to take control. That is Democrats or the left. We are going to take control of the government again. It's going to take some time, but I do think it's going to happen. And when we do, you'll see a moral shift in the tone of everything. You know, Joe Biden, when he took power, he said, we're not going to be insulting anybody. We're not going to be making fun of anybody. That's policy now. In the White House, nobody insults anybody else. We speak respectfully about each other. And it was a little thing, but that set the tone. Trump is setting the tone now, and it has allowed scumbags who are absolutely vile in every way in their lives, it's allowed them to feel comfortable coming out and showing how vile they are. That's what's happening right now. When Trump leaves office, whether it's because he was, removed forcibly or otherwise, or because he kicked it, whatever reason he leaves, things are going to calm down eventually. We're not going to see this type of stuff in the future, but not as heavily as we see it now. But this should act as an indication of how much sway a president has over culture.
Nobody digging through.
So if I remember the story correctly, we're going to read about it in a second. I believe that she caught this kid digging in her purse, and that's wrong. That's bad. You shouldn't be doing that, obviously. But to call him the N-word at 6 years old, you couldn't have called him a thief instead? Why the N-word of all things?
That little kid, you call him the little child? Are you about to hit him?
If he acts like one, he's going to get called. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is just on full display. No remorse, no nothing. She's just all in.
The little child? Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
If he's going to act like that, oh my God.
That's what he's gonna act like.
That's a hate speech. And you can be that.
I don't give
Huh. Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
So anyway, her face was posted to the internet because she got in his face and called him the N-word after calling this 5-year-old the N-word. And she basically went to some crowdfunding website and pretended to be a victim and said she needs money because she was doxxed. Her face was on this thing calling a child the N-word, and she raised $500,000. $500,000. That's what it was at last I checked. It could be even higher now. Let's take a look. This was written May 2nd, 2025, so it's probably changed by now. It's a little bit after that. Video taken at a Minnesota public park this week shows a white woman apparently admitting she used a racist slur against a black youth she accused of taking an item that belongs to her child. Apparently admitting? She said it again on camera. What do you mean apparently admitting? I get so sick of this hedging. Just say it. She called him the N-word. The man who recorded the video, Sharmake Omar, I think, 30, said in an interview Friday that the 5-year-old child was called the N-word by the woman on Monday. The Rochester Police Department is aware of the video that was posted on social media and has received multiple calls related to it, it said Friday. We are gathering information and actively looking into the matter. I'm not sure what the police could or would do. I don't think that they could do anything because it's just speech. And I do believe in free speech. I just believe in shaming the shit out of people who are pieces of trash, like this woman right here, and making an example of her by pointing out how absolutely evil and grotesque and vile this is. To call a child the N-word. Like, you shouldn't call an adult the N-word. That's just fucking disgusting. Omar said that when he saw the woman berating the child of Somali heritage, I think Somali are generally dark skinned. They look black, I believe, as opposed to like Middle Eastern. A background he shares, he intervened, and she turned her apparent anger on him using the slur repeatedly, which was captured on the video. In the video, verified by NBC News, the woman apparently carrying her child away. Why do you keep saying apparently? She's carrying her child away. Jesus. Apparently carrying her child away answered yeah when asked if she called the youth the slur. He took my son's stuff. The woman responded, if that's what he's going to act like, the video shows. Oh my God, dude. The little boy was visibly upset by the incident, Omar said. Omar said that when he intervened, the woman, whom he had never met before, also told him he and his wife shouldn't have more children because they are a drain on the welfare system. I'm telling you, man, Trump being the president, or just not even Trump, Republicans being in power leads to the most vile, disgusting human beings on planet Earth feeling free to be those vile pieces of shit in society without worrying about social consequences. If people are going to like call them out and say what's wrong with you and that they might lose their job. And by the way, like freedom of speech, the First Amendment right that we have protects us from being jailed for the things that we say. And I believe in it to the death. I'm just about nearly a free speech absolutist. I believe that people should be free to say almost anything, except for like, inciting riots and, instructing people to inciting violence generally, basically, and defamation and things like that. I actually like where our free speech laws are right now. But you don't have a right against or to protect you from consequences of your actions. You work for Walmart, you call some kid the N-word, Walmart doesn't have to employ you anymore. Consequences. They exist for a reason. You shouldn't be jailed, but you should certainly face consequences for that type of shit. Actually, I think I like Germany's free speech laws better. I really like this saying. Just like murder or genocide are not opinions, they're crimes. Fascism is not an opinion, it's a crime. That's my take on it. Also on Thursday, the NAACP Rochester branch said in a statement that it stands in solidarity with the impacted child and called on police, the Rochester City Attorney, and the Olmsted County Attorney's Office to investigate and charge the woman in the video, suggesting her interaction with the boy may have been a hate crime. If it's a hate crime, I'm okay with it being charged, but I'm not even sure if it is. I don't know if that's... Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. The Rochester branch said the Monday incident was one of multiple recent examples of a disturbing increase in racially motivated acts. In the city of more than 122,000, perhaps best known for being home of the Mayo Clinic and its world-renowned hospital and research, right? Because it's Minnesota? Yeah, Minnesota. Jesus Christ, bro. So anyway, I wanted to take a look at like some of the comments on the Reddit post about it. Let's see if I wonder if I can find her. Can I find her GoFundMe or whatever it is? This is from Washington Post. This country is so broken. Anyone donating to this woman is a despicable person. Yeah, what are you donating for? She called a kid the N-word. Why would anybody donate for that? I don't understand. How is she the victim here? Like, what? Keep reporting how much she gets so that kid's family can sue her for all of it. I would love that. Yeah, absolutely. These are the same people crying about Harvard being anti-Semitic because of the student anti-war protests, using racism as a tool to suppress, while also financially supporting actual racism in a special is a special level of fucking evil. Well said, John Sweeney. Damn, yes. Couldn't have said that better myself. I really wish I could find out what she's up to now. Like, I mean, what her fundraiser's up to. Wow, that was like way harder than I thought it would be. Okay, yeah, here we go. My name is Shiloh. Metal fucking name, by the way. Actually a big fan of that name, unironically. In fact, I'm going to write that down. Shiloh. I've been put into a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was, which is, you called him the N-word. You said he's the N-word. Called him out for what he was. Another man who we recently found out has a history with... What does his history with law enforcement have to do with anything? Why would I give a shit about that? Why is that involved? Why are you bringing that up? It's irrelevant. You called the kid the N-word. What is broken in here? Are you shitting me? Had a history with law enforcement, proceeded to record me and follow me to my car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. Well, next time try not calling a child the N-word. Maybe give that one a shot, see how it works out for you. It's working out pretty well for me because I haven't done that and I haven't had my face plastered all over everything for calling a child the N-word. So give it a shot. It works for others. My social security number has been leaked. I don't believe her, but okay, yeah, that doesn't need to happen. I don't want anyone's social security number leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked. My eldest child may not be going back to school. Even where I exercise has been exposed. Has been exposed? As what? Leftist, liberal, Marxist, communist? Blah, blah, blah? Is that what you're saying they were exposed as? I'm asking for your help to assist in protecting my family. I fear that we must relocate. I have 2 small children who do not deserve this. You're right. Children don't deserve this. I feel the same way. Children are innocent of any of this. They shouldn't be called names. They shouldn't be derided or attacked. But unfortunately, you brought that down on your children by bringing it down on some other kid. We have been threatened to the extreme by people online. Anything will help. We cannot and will not live in fear. Thank you. Well, it sounds like you are living in fear. That's the thing. This is just disgusting, dude. This is absolutely fucking vile. And she's at... Oh my God, dude. She's at $650,000. Her goal is $1 million. Society is broken when you become a millionaire for calling a child the N-word. She did literally nothing else. She did nothing to deserve this money or support or whatever. Wait, let's look at some of the donations here. What do we got? Did somebody leave a message? Oh, look, take a look. Solidarity Groiper. You see a lot of Groipers in here. That is... Nick Fuentes' weird little group. He calls them Groipers, and they're Nazis, like actual full-blown self-avowed Nazis. They're on 4chan all the time. Anyway, let's just kind of glance through this Reddit post about it. Reminder that when your MAGA relatives ask for financial help, you know where they wasted their money, and you can tell them to figure it out themselves. Absolutely. Grab those bootstraps. Thought process. I can't afford eggs, but I'll give this poor mother $20. Somehow, this is Biden's fault. Edit, look at all these tattoos. Has anyone verified she has an MS-13? That's a solid point, actually. Call a kid the N-word, raise $300,000. Actually, it's $650,000 now. Jesus, this timeline sucks. I watched the video, and she was vile. Yep. And she didn't even deny it. She said it again. She called the other dude the N-word. Like, really? I'm very concerned it's going to start a wave of copycats. Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. It started much, much lower, and the goal has just been continuously moved higher. Disgusting garbage. GoFundMe would never support such a thing. They wouldn't support this campaign. GoFundMe actually, unironically, has standards. And if you fundraise with GoFundMe, then you have to prove that you really are going to be using it for like the thing that you are requesting it for or whatever. Because if you fundraise for something and then use the money for something else, it's called wire fraud, and it's like a big fucking deal. Jim Baker went to jail for he was sentenced to 15 years, and I think he served 7 of them for wire fraud. Took donations, claimed they were going to one thing, spent them on another thing. Can't do that. Dude, I could talk about these subjects forever. I mean, there's so much more I could say about this. There's another girl that I dubbed the N-word girl, actually, a while back. Yeah, here you go. This is the original N-word girl. Lily Gaddis. And now I think she's some kind of a public influencer. She was not before. And because she said the N-word, she was brought on to do like some public influencer, like a podcast. She's invited to do a podcast. She's got like tons and tons of followers now.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community, and all the backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive, like do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
You're going to call us racist? You're going to call us potential Timothy McVeigh's? You. War.
I don't remember who this is, but he's a complete nutcase. He's somebody really famous. Anyway, yeah. Just a complete piece of trash. Disgusting pieces of trash, all of them. And then there's this. This was an older one. I censored it. I have the original. Students in Oklahoma schools spell out the N-word in class. Why? Got me. Because they thought it was funny. This one is from 2024, September 2024. And what is Ryan Walters, the superintendent over all of Oklahoma schools, what is he doing? Did he address this? No, he didn't. I'll show you what he addressed instead. This is what Ryan Walters is paying attention to.
We have a drag queen principal of one of our schools who has now hired another drag queen to work inside our schools. This is what Joe Biden wants for our schools, folks.
It wasn't true. Of course, there was no drag queen anywhere in the process at all. Just making it up. But this is what he's focused on over this. He's thinking about drag queen principles. Didn't say a fucking word about this one. About I'm sorry for audio audience, about students standing here spelling out the N-word.
Well, I have demanded that individual be fired. No drag queen should be running a school anywhere in this country, especially in Oklahoma.
If there really was, he would name the person.
The Supreme Court has been wrong. There is no separation of church and state in the Constitution or Declaration of Independence. It doesn't exist. So we will bring God back to schools and prayer back in schools in Oklahoma, and we will fight back against that radical myth.
Yeah, this is just rewriting history. The Founding Fathers specifically wrote in a separation of church and state intentionally because they wanted a separation of church and state. And if it wasn't clear enough, Thomas Jefferson clarified when he became president in 1800, 10 years or 12 years or 13 or something after the Constitution was ratified. He clarified what that meant. One of the framers of the Constitution clarified for us 12 years later. He's just lying. It's just a lie. These people. Anyway, tell me your thoughts in the comments. These people are just straight up vile. They're vile human beings, honestly. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Check out this lady. She's trying to do what the N-word lady did and get rich, I guess. Just watch this. She just called somebody the F word for gay people in the store, I believe.
Say it again. I didn't hear you. What'd you say to me?
I believe that she said, go back to your own country, to the black dude here. And she called this guy the F word for gay people, if I'm not mistaken. Home Depot girl is not a copycat. That's from your... Really? Is it? Home Depot girl's not a copycat. How about that? Damn. Well, I guess we've always had pieces of shit out there, haven't we? But I do expect to see a lot of copycats.
Oh, tell me. Hi.
Okay, you need to leave, man.
He's being rude. You're being
No,
rude.
I'm not being rude. You need to leave.
I'm buying things.
You don't want any more customer. You need to leave.
Oh, I'm not a customer?
You're not a
So
customer
then I
in
want
this store.
thousands of dollars I spend here back every day.
No, leave.
Leave.
You need
So
to-
then give me my thousands of dollars. Give me my thousands of dollars.
No, leave.
Give me my thousands of dollars back.
Leave.
Then give me my thousands of dollars back.
See, this is what happens when people like the N-word lady are rewarded. If you don't know the N-word lady, we'll talk about her just a little bit in a second. I already covered her, so I'm not going to go into more detail, but just keep listening here.
Cool, you're getting fired. Fired. Fired.
God, can her voice go any higher? It's so fucking insufferable. I am sorry, man. Anyway, just listen to her little screed here.
I said, I'm not leaving. Call the cops. I've done nothing wrong. I'm trying to buy something. And he's like, I'm not discounting anything. I'm not selling you anything. Get out of my store. Like pushing me out, like walking me out, not touching me, but like pushing me basically out. And then I turn around and you're going to be rude. Go back to your country. Go back to your country. Because he wasn't from here. That was...
How the f*** do you know he wasn't from here? How the f*** could you possibly know that?
Is it. And I mean this sincerely. For all the people in the back, if you ain't gonna fucking respect Americans, go back to your country. Respect is earned, not given. Don't be fucking rude and working.
God, the twig and berries on somebody to literally do what she just did and then to say respect is earned, not given. Oh my God. I knew that what we were going to see after N-word lady was like a bunch of copycats who are also trying to get filthy fucking rich off of the exact same strategy. God, I guess I wasn't mentally prepared for it. Again, we'll talk about N-word lady again in a second, just for a split second, because there's more I want to talk about.
Servants, for one. So I turn around, I say, go back to your motherfucking country and learn some fucking manners before you come here. Whatever the fuck I said, spitfire, as always, you know how I do.
God, she's so cringy. It's painful. How is one human being so goddamn fucking cringy? I don't understand how this happened. These people are complete, vile scumbags all the way down. There is no, like, redeeming quality about, say, this woman, for example, or like N-word lady or whatever. There are no redeeming qualities.
Whatever the fuck I said, spitfire, as always, you know how I do. That was fucking it. Back in New York, the word f*** is not really, like, offensive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I lived in Manhattan up until literally, like, 3 months ago. I lived there for 5 years, okay? It is offensive. You cannot run around saying that shit. It's offensive everywhere.
But I understand we live in a day and age, and everybody's not from New York City, and everything is sensitive to everybody who's not from New York City.
Oh, please, dude. It's offensive in New York City, too. Everywhere. What a piece of shit, really. Excusing her vile, disgusting fucking bigotry. What is wrong with you? What broke in you that makes you think it's okay to act like a complete sack of shit, really?
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
So the gay guy got really offended when I said for him to go back to his country.
You know, I'm not even sure he was gay. I think she was just calling him that just because she wanted to. Has anybody even verified that, or is she just being a piece of shit?
Got really offended when I said for him to go back to his country. Get out of here, you fucking cunt. Go back to your country? Yeah? You ignorant? Go back? Yeah, you this, you fucking cunt. Yelling, screaming at me. So I finally pull out my phone. I'll show you the end of it. Here's the video. Been on the phone in the parking lot still, customer service complaining because that's not how we treat customers.
Oh, and is that how customers treat Home Depot employees? She is a vile piece of shit, and I would be willing to bet that she doesn't get any results from Home Depot. I would bet that they protect their employee in this case because she's very obviously in the wrong here, very obviously looking for an opportunity to hurt people because she wanted to, because she's trying to get the same treatment as N-word lady who raised like $1 million or something off of simply calling a child the N-word in the park.
So Mr. Hansen and Jamie are gonna lose their job today. This is what happens when we f with Amanda Marie Keshner. Okay, bye.
She is so goddamn fucking cringy. I cannot stand it. It is painful. What a cringy, insufferable, awful human being in every single way. Oh my God. Anyway, just to touch on N-word lady real fast, if you guys are unfamiliar. I wonder how she feels about being known as N-word lady. I wonder if she's like proud of that. This is N-word lady. She basically accuses this little 5-year-old black boy. She accuses him of digging in her kid's diaper bag or purse or in her purse or something like that. I don't know exactly. To my knowledge, you know, nothing came of it, as in like there's no proof that this happened. I have no clue. And she called him the N-word. She said, hey, you little N-word, get out of the bag or something. And this dude at the park hears her say this to like a freaking 5-year-old. He says, did you just call that freaking 5-year-old the N-word?
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the N-word? It is my own business. You call him. Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody digging to your.
So she's calling him the N-word now. She's saying this little N-word was digging through my shit.
That little kid, you call him the little child?
If he acts like one, he's gonna.
Are you about
It's really hard to hear. Well, he acts like one, then he's going to get called one.
to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech.
If that's what he's going to act like, that is freaking vile. Vile. I don't actually think that hate speech should be a law, like an anti-hate speech law. I'm not a fan of that. I think that, people should be like protected from that type of vile behavior in the workplace and pretty much everywhere else. But if you're out on a street corner and somebody is yelling the N-word, I think that they have the right to yell that. I guess I'm kind of a free speech absolutist in that sense, but she should absolutely face consequences for this, like social consequences. And she did. She faced social consequences in that people were real freaking unhappy with her in her community, calling some kid the N-word like that. What the frick? So she sets up this Give, Send, Go. She's at $750,000 now. $750,000 raised out of $1 million. It started at like 10,000 and just kept going up from there. And the comments are just disgusting, dude. Like, they were spelling out the N-word in like with their names because they disabled comments because they're so vile. So somebody would donate as N and then donate again as I and then G, like all the way down. It's all Nazis. And you can see with their names, like Liberia is their home. Reinhard Heydrich is one of Hitler's inner circle. He was an arch criminal in World War II. And I think he died before the Nuremberg trials, but he would have been in Nuremberg if he had been alive. I think. There's a lot of anonymous givers. Make Racism Great Again is this name. The West needs a detox. I mean, these are the people that are keeping you afloat. I hope she's happy with that. So what's her problem? She says she was in a dire situation, had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was, the N-word. Another man who recently found out he had a history with law enforcement. Why does that matter? What the fuck does that matter? Who gives a shit what his history is? You called a fucking kid the N-word, okay? I believe that for the next few months, certainly, we're going to see a lot of copycats trying to get rich off of pure, unadulterated racism. Jesus fucking Christ, man. And you know what else? I hope I don't get copyright hit for this, but this sketch, I guess, hit home for me. Deutschland, 1933. I'm learning German. I'm not very good at it, so I'm going to fuck up pronunciations and stuff, but Germany, 1933. This is walking right into Nazi Germany. Hitler just took power and was rapidly reorganizing and reforming Germany into what he wanted it to be by putting up swastikas and shit everywhere. And it was as rapid as what we see with Trump, just instantly takes power, starts changing everything.
Nazi.
Wie bitte? Haben Sie mich gerade als Nazi beschimpft?
Excuse me, did you just call me a Nazi? If people are listening and not watching, I'll translate.
Na, Sie sind doch einer.
Well, you are one.
Das ist eine Unverschämtheit.
Gross impertinence. Just because I'm in the NSDAP and the SS, it doesn't make me a Nazi. The NSDAP was the Nazi party. That was the political party. And the SS, the Schutzstaffel, was the Nazi, like, was the Nazi police force effectively. I imagine you think I'm also extreme right wing, don't you? Basically is what he said. Yes, what else could you be? Maybe I'm a concerned citizen who's afraid of foreign domination. But I'm not right wing. And above all, I am not a Nazi, he says while wearing an SS uniform and a swastika armband. Hey, you there. Do I look like a Nazi? No, I wouldn't say so. See? He must be a Nazi too then, right? And he's comparing the fucking swastikas to... That's funny. Nazi. Nazis everywhere. When you're running out of arguments, it's easy to play the Nazi card. Okay, he actually said... He said the word fast in there. I'm learning German, and I know I heard the word fast. Hang on.
Dann holt man schnell mal die gute alte Nazi-Keule raus.
I think he said, you're quickly running out of arguments, or something. That has nothing to do with a Nazi card. That makes life very easy for you. Just because someone doesn't share the mainstream opinion, he isn't automatically a Nazi. But being a Nazi already is mainstream. You National Socialists already have the power. Oh, I forgot. In your world, everyone's a Nazi. The Führer probably is a Nazi too, right? Yeah? That's enough. Insulting the Führer. Come along. But that's... Yes, I know. Nazi methods. That's good. That's really good, right? I love that shit. I'm a fan. Anyway, the point is, this woman can complain about being mistreated and called a Nazi all she wants, but you're a Nazi. You are a Nazi. Like, there's no ambiguity. There's no, I'm not saying it because I don't like you. You're a fucking Nazi. How does it get clearer? You have people named Reinhard Heydrich donating to you in the fucking comments. You're a Nazi. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments.
We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com.
I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Dude, MAGA lives in another universe right now. Listen to this MAGA woman talking about how the terrorists are just misunderstood.
I truly wish more people understood the tariffs that President Trump is implementing. I wish more people knew what kind of freedom that's going to give the American people.
Tariffs, giving people freedom. Okay, go on.
President Trump is trying to use these tariffs to get rid of taxes.
Do you think she realizes we pay the tariffs? Do you think she knows that? Or do you think she's just making excuses for him?
And I'm telling you guys, he is very smart. That's how the country was ran.
Are we talking about the same Donald Trump?
He is very smart. That's how the country was ran before taxes.
No, it wasn't. What, run by a bunch of fucking morons? No, it was not run that way, actually.
I truly have a hard time understanding how anybody could be against that.
What, no taxes? Well, that's the thing. There are taxes. You're just pretending that there aren't taxes.
I understand maybe not liking him, but who could be against getting rid of taxes?
I'll tell you why this is a bad thing. Tariffs rather than taxes. Because tariffs are a tax, first of all. They're a tax that, A, hurts trade. It makes it more difficult to trade, which makes us less wealthy as a country. Trade makes us more wealthy. Having a open trade between different countries makes us more powerful, gives us more soft power at the very least, and it allows us the opportunity to get things from other countries that we don't have here, like diamonds. Diamond mines don't exist in the United States, certainly not to any useful degree. You know, we have oil that we dig up out of the ground here in Alaska, Texas, other places like that, but we don't have enough to supply the entire United States. We have to buy it from other people. Saudi Arabia is traditionally, and I think South America, buying it from South America, from Colombia, I think. We have to trade. Trade is a good thing. So right out the gate, tariffs are not helpful for that reason alone, because we're the ones paying that. And it's disincentivizing people from trading with other countries, which is useful to us as a society. Also, tariffs are what's called a regressive tax, because in the slim chance that she might see this video, they're a regressive tax because they affect the poor disproportionately and they don't affect the rich basically at all. Tariff costs are passed on to the consumer. So I, as a household of 3, I have 3 people in my house, me, my wife, my kid, we're going to buy a loaf of bread per week or whatever for sandwiches and stuff. Jeff Bezos, on the other hand, say he has a household of 3, he's going to buy a loaf of bread per week. The same as me. He has to buy the same amount of bread because tariffs only affect goods that everybody is buying. An income tax comes out of people's paychecks as a percentage. So if you, as somebody that makes $20,000 a year, are taxed at 10% or whatever, that 10% comes out of your check and you're making $18,000 a year effectively now, right? Guy that makes $300,000 a year is now making, I don't even know what it is, $225,000 a year maybe? I have no clue. Everybody all the way up the chain pays their fair share, and wealth inequality is equalized. It makes it more fair, which makes it easier for people to achieve the American dream. Makes it easier for people to build up their lives and grow and buy houses and everything else. If we were funded solely off of tariffs, A, there would be no trade, which would be devastating, and B, it would only be the poor paying the taxes and the rich sitting on all of the money. Like, what good is that? How's that helping anybody? It's not helping anyone. You're still paying taxes. She says, who could be against cutting taxes? You're not cutting taxes. You're making it worse with tariffs. Like, did she live in another reality? Or, like, is it because she's dumb as dog shit? Or is she just really just in another world completely? I can't tell.
Liking him. But who could be against getting rid of taxes?
That's not happening. That will never happen. I would be against that. You know why? Because I want Social Security when I get older, for example. I want to make sure that the poorest among us have health insurance, Medicaid, and the oldest, Medicare. Like, there are a ton of good things that taxes do. I want there to be a federal government that enforces the Constitution.
Who is against having more money in your pocket?
That's the thing. Proportionally, you will have less money in your pocket as a ratio of who has the most and who has the least. You will proportionally have less. Money is a representation of labor, right? Represents how much labor you're putting in. If we are taxing the poorest among us and just balancing the budget off of their backs, which is what tariffs do, since it's a regressive tax, then we are effectively decreasing the value of their money. And it's because it's all going to the top. So I'm in favor of having more money in my pocket by taxing the wealthy. How could anybody be opposed to this? This is insane.
Money in your pocket. The only people that could be against that are the people who has truly never paid taxes. Before you complain and talk about how terrible it is.
Bro, I pay taxes. What are you talking about?
And talk about how terrible it is. Give him the opportunity to show you.
I gave him 4 years of opportunity from 2016 to 2020, and he f***ed it up back then, too. He's not intelligent at all. Like, I this isn't even an insult to Trump. He's just not intelligent. He's just like, he clearly doesn't understand the first fucking thing about anything. I'll prove that in a second.
Opportunity to show you. I hope all you guys are having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day here in the state of Kentucky. God bless each and every one of you.
So let me show you why I say he doesn't know the first thing about anything at all. This is just one example of something that he said that is just dumb as dog.
Here you have the original of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, and of course you have the Declaration of Independence.
What does it mean to you?
Declaration of Independence. What does it mean to you, Donald Trump? In case you didn't know, Donald Trump, the Declaration of Independence is a document that the Founding Fathers sent to King George as a declaration that they were becoming independent, that they were splitting off from England. Just letting you know, in case you didn't.
Well, it means exactly what it says. It's a declaration. It's a declaration of unity and love. And
unity and love?
Respect. And it means a lot. And it's something very special to our country.
What? It's a declaration of respect? What the f*** are you talking about? It is literally the exact opposite of everything that he just said. Oh my God, dude. Declaration of Independence is a declaration of unity? He is so fucking stupid. Again, not an insult. I don't like insulting people. I'm not trying to insult him. He's just fucking stupid. Oh my God. This dummy is the president, as No says. You literally could not think of a single other thing to say about the Declaration of Independence. So, again, why am I not giving him a chance, you ask? Because he says stupid shit like that. It's in the fucking name. Declaration of Independence. Oh my God. You know, there's like a full cult growing behind him. You guys probably heard about North Korea and all the crazy shit that they say about Kim Jong-un, and before him, Kim Jong-il, that he, golfs with a handicap of like -30. He clears 18 holes in 16 swings and whatever, he's seen a unicorn and all this other shit. That is what I'm seeing coming out of MAGA right now, out of people like that woman that we just listened to. That's the type of shit that I'm seeing coming out of their mouths, like he's the most intelligent human being on planet Earth. Here's just one example of them giving him love and adulation that is completely undeserved, and it is, no joke, approaching Kim Jong-un levels. Listen to this. This is Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States.
Since Donald Trump has been in office, DEA has seized over 21 million fentanyl pills.
I cannot verify that one way or another. Let me see if I can find out real fast, actually. Okay, just from a super basic search, take it or leave it, I'm turning up 7.5 million pills, or 3,400 kilograms of fentanyl. That's what I'm seeing.
Been in office, DEA has seized over 21 million fentanyl pills.
7 million.
That's 21 million lives saved, in my
You think it takes one fentanyl pill to kill somebody?
opinion. President Trump's 100th day in office, and it's pretty amazing. Since he's been in office, DEA has taken 22.2
Well, I thought it was 21
million fentanyl pills off the streets.
You lying to me right now? You hustling me? Oh.
And seized, 1,400 pounds of pure fentanyl.
No, it's 3,400 kilograms. Wait, and that's 2.2 pounds per kilogram, right? So 3,400 divided by 2.2. So 1,500. We'll say 1,500 pounds, I believe.
Off the streets.
Wow.
And seized, 1,400 pounds of pure fentanyl.
It's so funny that she says 22.3 million pills or whatever and 1,500 pounds of fentanyl, when actually 1,500 pounds of fentanyl is 7.5 million pills, which is actually what he got. Why is she just making up different numbers every time? 21 million, 22.3?
This is 119 million lives.
I'm sorry? What? 119 million lives. Wow. 1/3 of the United States?
Donald Trump has saved.
He saved 1/3 of the United States, men, women, and children, even the babies. Wow. That's impressive. Because just a few minutes ago, you said it was 21 million people that he saved. There are 330 million people in the U.S., roughly. And he claims to have saved 119 million. So that's, so that's like 1/3 almost A little bit over, I think.
Since January. Pretty remarkable. And this is all this man wanting to keep America safe.
I mean, like, there's more to this. We're going to watch it. But just listen to her tone, the way that she says things and the things that she says, the look on her face. Listen to how she frames this when she's talking about it. It is a cult like North Korea. This is like North Korea style propaganda.
1,400 pounds of pure fentanyl. This is 119 million lives Donald Trump has saved since January. Pretty remarkable. And this is all this man wanting to keep America safe.
Pretty remarkable. It's a cult. I don't know how else to say this. It's a cult. You know, I recognized this as a cult a couple of years ago. Talked about it as a cult, as the cult that it is on my channel, and found myself like inextricably intertwined with politics on my main channel. I've decided to cover political cults and extremism on Fireside, and non-political cults, or cults that are not directly tied to current events, basically, in politics on my main channel. I've backed off of like Donald Trump stuff because I could talk about Donald Trump stuff all day and all night on my main channel, and I'd never run out of material, but I want to do deep dives into different stuff. The point is that this is a full-blown cult. A full-blown cult. Here's another example of her just making it up whole cloth. So first it was 21 million pills, right? Then it was 22.3 million, I think. Now what do we got?
You have been in office, President Trump. Your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills.
It was 7 million, actually, 7.5 million.
3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives.
258 million lives out of 330 million lives in the United States. Women, children, babies, old people, all included in that number. So what is that? That's 228 million. So we're talking 70% of the United States, babies included, were saved from overdose because Donald Trump captured 23 million fentanyl pills or whatever, 22 million. With Pam Bondi, it's not delusion. Obviously, it's not, right? She knows what she's saying. She knows what she's doing. She knows she's completely full of and she's intentionally lying to our faces because she knows she can get away with it. There will come a time, whether it's in 5 years or 50 years, when this moment in history is written about in textbooks that kids are reading in school. And if we're lucky, which I'm very confident we will be in this situation, her face will be right next to the word fascist, domestic terrorist, or Nazi, because that's what she is. And tell me what you think about it in the comments. Like, this is just shameless North Korea style trash. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Listen to this absolutely insane video I found.
Aged urine has got hundreds of millions of stem cells. You get a 64-ounce mason jar and just start peeing in it first thing in the morning and age it a little bit.
Oh my God. I found this on the chemtrails subreddit. Yes, there's a subreddit for chemtrails believers.
Got a pool deck in Vegas? Go out on your pool deck, get it on the sun. I swear to God, when I put it on my face or when I put it on my body, aches and pains go away.
Dude said, piss in a jar, leave it on your pool deck for like a while, and then rub it all over your face. Bro, come on. That's so God. Why? Why would anybody do that?
Put it on my face, my mood lifts.
Wow, that instantaneous?
Oh man, it's money.
I know, sir.
It's money. I'm sorry, man. I love it. It is so fucking stupid. Oh my God. I love everything about this.
And athletes use it on their feet after games, football games, or whatever. They'll soak their feet in it.
Really? I never heard that, but great.
There's a famous...
Dude is doubting his claim. He's like, okay, athletes rubbing it on their feet, that's a little far. That's a little far. Rub it on your face and it changes your mood. I'm okay with that. I accept that. Rub it on your feet. Come on.
NFL player that did I guess his feet got inflamed during the game, so he would just soak them in there.
Good. Well, aged urine's making a comeback. Well, Dr. Edward Group says if you get maimed by these poison injections and...
Oh my God, it's anti-vax. I have another video from like the beginning of COVID by a guy named Christopher Key, who has this whole plan for people and how you can use your own piss to get better from COVID. It's so crazy.
The nanobots are getting you and your skin's crawling with chemtrail nanobots and all.
What the
And the hydrogels and the synthetic red blood cells. Urine is the only way back because it holds your stem cells, which is the blueprint for your DNA.
That is absolutely insane.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Some people claim that piss is sterile. I don't believe that's true, but it doesn't have your DNA in it by default unless it, gets like skin cells in it on its way out. I'm sorry. I gotta, it requires a little scientific discussion. So we're going to address some of this, but piss does not have your stem cells in it. And also, you think stem cells are good? Then are you in favor of stem cell research? The answer is, of course, I would imagine, no, he's not okay with stem cell research. He's just okay with making up ridiculous bullshit excuses for drinking and or rubbing his own piss all over his face. Oh my God, dude, that's so much. Anyway, let's talk about Christopher Key. Greg Locke has gotten into it too. Greg Locke held this conference and they got this whole thing. Anyway, let's talk about Christopher Key. This is from, I believe, early 2021, shortly after the pandemic hit. He was involved in the Plandemic film, if you guys remember that propaganda film from forever ago. So Christopher Key's an anti-vaccine activist, gained notoriety during COVID-19. He calls himself the vaccine police, became infamous for promoting urine therapy, drinking one's own urine as an alternative to COVID treatment, traveled across the U.S. confronting pharmacists and healthcare workers about COVID vaccines, sold various unproven health remedies and supplements, including, but not limited to, I remember this forever ago, little sparkly stickers. That's literally all they were. They were stickers with glitter in them. And he sold them to put as a patch on your arm that would cure like your tendinitis, your arthritis, or whatever other thing you have. Was arrested multiple times for his confrontational activism, built a following among conspiracy theorists and extreme anti-vax communities, had no medical or scientific credentials despite making health claims, used social media platforms to spread misinformation until being banned from most. He remains a fringe figure associated with pandemic conspiracy theories and pseudoscientific health claims.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. I so appreciate it. I've came straight from Birmingham, Alabama, where I was unlawfully arrested yesterday.
Again, the dude got, he did this intentionally provocative style to get arrested. That was his goal. He was a shithead to people around him and acted like a fucking moron so that he would draw attention. That was the point.
For not wearing a face diaper to walk into a courtroom, and then I was handcuffed and walked into the courtroom. We're going to educate you guys how to arrest the governor of Louisiana if he does not stand down on these illegal, unlawful mandates. Chlorine dioxide is that bleach that President Trump was talking about.
Chlorine dioxide. There's a whole underlying ideology here that's absolutely fascinating. Okay, I actually covered this a long time ago. It's called the Genesis 2 Church. And Mark Grennan, I think is the guy's name that started it. He explicitly said the only reason that it is labeled as a church is because there is basically no government oversight for churches. You can do pretty much whatever you want as a church. You don't have to file, taxes or any of that. Like nonprofits, they have to file taxes. Churches do not. They don't even have to file. Nonprofits don't pay taxes. They have to file and say, this is what we did with the money and everything. Churches don't even have to send that shit in. So Mark Grennan, leader of Genesis 2 Church, openly said, I am labeling this a church and registering as a church because churches have so much freedom. Like they can do literally anything without reporting any of it to the government. And I know what I'm doing is illegal, claiming that my basically bleach, what is effectively bleach, claiming that my bleach, if you drink it, will cure you of shit. And I'm avoiding legal accountability by claiming to be a church. That's what he said. I covered it at the time when he said all of that. It's called MMS, actually, Mineral Miracle Solution. And it's a precursor to bleach, the chemical. And when you drink it, it becomes bleach. When it mixes like with your stomach acid and everything, it becomes bleach. So it's effectively bleach. And he was telling people to drink it to cure like everything, like arthritis and depression and all of this shit. And he was selling it out the wazoo, selling it like you wouldn't believe. And he writes this letter to Donald Trump. In fact, he wrote a bunch of letters. He was in correspondence with the White House over the course of months. I doubt Trump actually read any of the letters. He probably had some aides reading them for him and then, you know, communicating with him about what the letters said or whatever. But shortly after the dude started writing letters to Donald Trump, Trump comes out there and he famously said, you know, well, maybe we're looking into bleach. Maybe bleach will be able to, like, if we, like, maybe injected it or something, maybe we could try to solve COVID that way. You guys remember that? Yeah, this one right here.
You are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting. So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way.
What? Bring the light inside the body? What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, whatever, go on.
And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute.
You know what's happening at this moment in history? Fauci had basically been pushed out completely. He was no longer like involved in COVID-19 helping anything at all, whatever. And he was replaced with Dr. Birx, who made it pretty clear that she was willing to play ball and do whatever it was that Donald Trump wanted her to do. Whatever it was, he wanted her to say, she would do it. She would say it. And I'm not sure if this may have been the first time that she was like prominently out there as the expert replacing Fauci. I'm not 100% on that. But I believe that's who he's looking to right now is Birx.
1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
It was one of the stupidest fucking things that he has ever said in his entire life. And that's, you know, that's saying something. You cannot cure COVID or any other condition for that matter by injecting bleach. Bleach kills HIV viruses too. You think that we can inject bleach to cure people of HIV? Are you fucking serious with this? Anyway, Donald Trump came out and said that shortly after Mark Grenon of the Genesis 2 Church selling MMS started sending him letters. Now, this guy is advocating for MMS, the same shit as Mark Grenon. That's the origin of all of it. Just keep listening here. Who the fuck is this? Is this Charlie Chaplin on his shirt? There's only one other person famous for having a Hitler mustache other than Hitler, and it's Charlie Chaplin. Why would you have wait, is it Nikola Tesla? I can't tell. Why would you have somebody that looks damn close to Hitler with a pretty convincing Hitler mustache on your shirt? I don't know. Whatever.
Is that bleach that President Trump was talking about. They do not want you to know about it because it cured 500,000 people that had COVID with chlorine dioxide. We have the antidote.
The chlorine dioxide is the MMS. No, it's just bleach. It doesn't cure anything.
Okay? And the antidote is even for those that have been vaccinated. And the research he's already sent me just blew me away. And they're going to tear me apart, but hey, they tear me apart all the time. And I've been practicing this for 20 years, and everybody's always said I'm cray-cray, and I am, but I'm crazy like a fox, okay?
Okay, I don't know what that means or why you would be proud of it, but whatever.
And guys, when I tell you this, please, take it with a grain of salt, but go do the research, okay? Because this is going to just be like, there's no way. But the antidote, and I'm going to kill my credibility. But what credibility do I have anyway? So, hey, the antidote that we've seen now, and we have tons and tons of research, is urine therapy. Okay?
This audience is primed to trust him, so he's not killing his credibility, honestly. He has a ton of credibility among these specific poor fools.
And what he has right now is all antidotal. I'm going to give you some stuff.
All antidotal, he said. Not anecdotal, but antidotal. All antidotal. Okay, go on. Tell me about these antidotes.
Okay. And what he has right now is all antidotal. I'm going to give you some stuff. I know. The chlorine dioxide was roughing up, but now drink urine. Well,
it's not sterile. Woman says it's sterile. No, you are mistaken. No, it is not sterile, despite the popular misconception that it is. While urine in the bladder of a healthy person contains relatively few bacteria compared to other fluids, it is not completely sterile. Modern research using sensitive detection methods has found that even the bladders of healthy individuals contain their own microbiome, a community of bacteria that naturally reside there. Additionally, once urine leaves the body, it passes through all kinds of fun things, and there's there's bacteria all over everything all along the way. So it is not sterile. You are terribly, horrifically, stupidly misinformed is all.
Every night my prayer since all this happened has been to find an antidote for this vaccine. Because, guys, I know vaccines. I've studied vaccines.
An antidote for the vaccine.
23 years. There is no vaccine I would ever take, but this vaccine is the worst bioweapon I've ever seen. And what keeps me up all night, every night, is I don't know how to cut it off. Okay, I know how to fix almost everything, but this right here, once you inject that mRNA technology, me and my friends are like, we have no idea. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not telling anybody to drink their own urine, but I drink my own urine. I've drink my own urine for the last 23 years, and I'm still alive.
Okay, I don't think anybody was saying that you would die from it. I just think people are saying that's fucking disgusting and what is wrong with you. But all right.
And I drink bleach. Not bleach, I drink chlorine dioxide. But anyway, look into this.
He's saying he drinks MMS, chlorine dioxide. Oh my God, dude. It is so fucking stupid. It is so stupid. How are these people still alive? You know how they're still alive? The modern marvel of medical science. These people are doing everything they can to kill themselves by doing stupid shit like drinking bleach. And science keeps coming along and saving their asses from their own bad decisions. That's just wild. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I'm like so deeply entertained by all of this. I'm sorry, man. It's too much.
We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com.
I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. This is Brenden Dilley. He is a MAGA extremist to the core, and he has said some deeply disturbing stuff. Listen to this.
So you better pray to God, and I mean this literally, or whoever the f*** it is you pray to.
He's talking to the left.
Okay? That Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, and Attorney General Barr clean this up lawfully.
This is an older video. I'm just trying to show you the mindset, and then we're going to move to some more recent ones.
Because if for any reason the President of the United States feels that it's not getting done the way it should, and decides to put out the tweet that says...
He's talking about, like, after the election when Trump lost, he said, basically, Trump is trying to clean this up lawfully, but if he puts out the tweet...
To put out the tweet that says, my fellow Americans, my fellow 2A loving Americans, it's time to take up arms against these assholes. You are all in under an hour. Under 1 hour, you're done. Every one of you. We're all just at home, hanging out, or we're on vacation like me right now, watching you idiots behave the way you do.
Behave like what is my first question. And second, imagine how f***ed in the head you have to be to believe that this is a solution to anything and to be willing to do such a thing. How absolutely whacked out do you have to be? Seriously. Do you know the people who oppose war the most is veterans? Because human beings are not supposed to see the shit that people see in war. It will absolutely mess your head up to be in war. And this guy is not only not afraid of dealing, like, of being in a war and actually, like, killing other people, he is excited for it. We have a MAGA problem here. We're going to have to deal with this MAGA problem one way or another. These people are as brainwashed as it gets. They are out of their heads insane. You know, I used to say there's one way out of this, to basically do Socratic reasoning on family members. Everybody should be doing Socratic reasoning, like street epistemology, asking them why they believe these things. If they didn't have the evidence that they believe that they have, if they didn't have the evidence that Hillary Clinton is a lizard person, like they say they do, then would they still believe it? You know, work them into a corner non-confrontationally. And when you do that, inevitably, they always say, I just believe it on faith. It always boils down to faith. But I don't think that that's the solution anymore. After seeing some of the shit that we've seen recently, I believe the solution is going to be full denazification efforts. That's how we have to dig our way out of this as a country. We'll talk about denazification in a minute and how it worked and what I think we should be doing, but just keep listening here. There's more.
Waiting for that one tweet, that one emergency text message from the f***ing president of the United States that gives us the green light to finish this entire thing in under an hour. It will not be law enforcement. It will not be one of these slow, bureaucratic justice system, wheels of justice turning. It'll be a group of people you didn't even know fucking existed because we were at our houses, we got off work, we were with our families, but we were ready for that call. And if that call ever does come, you will be 7 ways from Sunday. So I suggest you back down.
So, yeah, he was saying he suggests that we just let Trump take the presidency in 2020 instead of Biden. That's what he was saying. Not for nothing, but this is mirroring nearly identically the Turner Diaries, the supposed most dangerous book in the world. It's a sci-fi novel that I've talked about. I actually did a video about it if you want to see it. It's on my main channel, the Turner Diaries. And it's just a story of a dude that turns into a domestic terrorist. And it explains how to counterfeit money and how to make bombs and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's uncensored completely. It was written by a neo-Nazi and a physics professor, fascinatingly. It's just like really, really disturbing to see people like this completely gone. Just their heads are gone. Fully ready to go, you know, like, God, Gestapo isn't even the right word. What's the right word? Fully ready to go domestic terrorist. Just straight up domestic terrorist. That's what he is, right? This one is from 2024. It's a little more recent. I'm sorry if there's a lot of swearing and a lot of bad language. He's very foul. He's just like a foul human being all the way around.
You motherfuckers trying to play the moral high ground game with me in 2024? There's nothing I won't fucking do or say. Nothing. It's war. I view you as a fucking enemy of the country. I will do anything necessary.
We're only going to go to this line.
You can't shame conservatives. No, you. Not us. But that's not even MAGA anymore. It's not even just you and I. Republicans don't give a if you think we're good people anymore.
Honestly, I've been saying this for a while. You remember that old saying, they go low, we go high? I respect the hell out of the sentiment. It's not going to get us anywhere. I don't want to go low. That's not my goal. We're treading water at best, and at this immediate moment in history, we are underwater as people who hate fascism. It's going to be an uphill battle to bring people back to reality. We're going to have to go full denazification. We have no choice on that, it seems. So keep listening, and we'll hit denazification.
We don't care. You don't think we're going to f*** you square in the ass every chance we get after what you've done to this country? After you stole a fucking election?
Retribution.
You call me an immoral, godless scumbag. I don't care, motherfucker.
Real Christian.
Don't care. Call me a criminal. Call me a liar. I don't give a
Fucking war, baby.
Words mean nothing. So you can save the moral high ground, virtue signaling bullshit for a Republican that's still stupid enough to play those games. But it ain't me, dude. Fucking print that. Dilley goes on show, says he...
Bro, like, I like the occasional swear myself. I love saying the word. But is there a line anywhere for this guy? Anywhere. Like, you're talking to a gigantic audience, and I know everybody says swears in their life. They've probably been saying them since 5th grade. I know I have. It's not that big of a deal, but seriously, can you not, like, speak like a human being for 5 minutes?
Lie, cheat, and steal, will stomp my fucking head into the grass. It doesn't matter. You're absolutely right.
So, anyway, that's Brenden Dilley. He's actually well known in the Trump sphere, in the MAGA sphere. So well known, in fact, that he was personally invited to Mar-a-Lago for Donald Trump's announcement that he's running for president again in 2024. Brenden Dilley is actually the creator of the meme team, quote unquote. It's like this group of people online that create memes. Brenden Dilley is like the leader of it. He owns it, and he's been, you know, they have logos and everything. And he made this gem right here. I don't know if you remember this.
And on June 14th, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump.
God, it's so cringy, dude. It's awful. Anyway, it's like 3 straight minutes of that. I don't even know what you call that. I'm trying to think of a description. Anyway, Brenden Dilley did that, and his little team. He was invited to Mar-a-Lago for Trump's announcement that he's running in 2024.
I just got invited to Mar-a-Lago for President Trump's announcement tomorrow night. So I am going down to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow. I'm leaving immediately after the show is over. I am flying in.
Hey, Gilbert Gottfried, you don't have a voice where you can say that type of thing in that tone.
I'm being picked up by mad liberals at the airport, and I am heading to Mar-a-Lago for an announcement from President Donald J. Trump. And I am extremely nervous about this because, as you know, I am a basement-dwelling nerd who lives in his mother's house and doesn't normally go out into the public.
For some reason, I'm not surprised by that. Anyway, this is another gem from Brenden Dilley.
Trump 2020. What's our strategy, guys? First rule of Trump 2020. Controlling the media. How do we do it? It doesn't have to be true. It just has to go viral. We're destroying them at their own game. Like, Dilley, where did you hear about that? I don't know. I made that up. You're a liar? For now.
The point is, this guy is about as low as it gets, and he doesn't care. He revels in that fact. And these are the people that have taken over at this moment. Now, I don't want you guys to feel too down about what's going on, because I believe that there will be another Democratic president. Elections do still function in this country right now, if for no other reason than because elections are state-run, not federal-run. That's important. That's a separation of power. That's a check on power that the Founding Fathers put into the Constitution. In retrospect, that was a fantastic idea, right? And I believe that Trump is not respecting institutions, but I think that most other people will. And when Trump kicks it, when it's over for him, I don't believe anybody is going to be able to command MAGA with as much authority as Trump can right now. He hasn't named a successor. There won't be a successor. Even if he named a successor, say it's Don Jr., people really going to follow Don Jr. the way that they follow Donald Trump? No. He's a loser cokehead, as far as anybody can tell. That being said, we do still have a Fox News problem after Trump kind of, when he slips on that banana peel of life, we're going to have a Fox News problem. My overall point here, though, is that MAGA exists and they're loud at this immediate moment. But when a Democrat takes power again, which I do believe that they will, they're going to go back to their corners to sulk. But we do live in a country that has been completely radicalized in a fascist ideology. This is another ad that Brenden Dilley created, the meme team. It's pretty short, and it doesn't mean much to you at first glance, probably. Just listen to this.
What happens after Donald Trump wins? What's for America? The economy booms. American energy is unleashed and an end to crushing taxes. The border is closed and the largest deportation in history is underway. No more wars.
This is May 21st, 2024, by the way. No more wars. I love it. They're prepping for war with Iran right now, by the way. J.D. Vance cannot command MAGA the way that Trump does, by the way. I saw somebody say that earlier. He could not possibly. He could be president, probably, but he couldn't command MAGA that way.
As we focus on home, law and order is restored.
Anyway, you know what? This is kind of interesting. What else did they say? Law and order is restored, huh? Okay.
The American dream is back, and the best is yet to come. Make America great again.
So you probably didn't notice because it's kind of hard to pick out of all of this stuff happening on screen, but if you look real close, you'll notice, I have it in this screenshot here, it says that they're trying to create a unified Reich. These newspaper articles that they used as stock footage were from Nazi-era Germany. I mean, does it get any more on the nose than that? You cannot tell me that he didn't know that. Of course he knew that. His response to that was, you know what, let me see if I can find his response. Hang on. No. Wait, did Brenden Dilley, yes, he ran for Congress in Arizona, finished 11th in the Republican primary with just over 1% of the vote. I had no idea. Anyway, I can't find the video. I'll try to find it later because it's actually really valuable to have in my collection. But Brenden Dilley basically says these newspapers are from World War I. Nazis didn't exist before World War I or during or after World War I. Actually, these newspapers are from like 1922 or something, or 1921. That's when the Nazis formed. And also, the idea of the Reich exists because Germans believe that, or believed at the time that Germany was this big, great, powerful thing. They're incredible. They need to control the world. They need to own everything and all of that other stuff. They had a monarchy under Wilhelm II going into World War I in 1914 area. And after World War I was lost, Wilhelm II went into exile in the Netherlands. He lost the mandate of the people, he lost everything, and they formed a true democracy after World War I, 1918 basically. Maybe December 1918. They formed a democratic republic nearly identical to the United States government, surprisingly. Very, very similar. And I think in 1922, the Nazi Party started to rise. Hitler became the leader of the Nazi Party in 21 or 22, I believe, is when they renamed it to the Nazi Party, and he became the chancellor or whatever, or the chair, whatever you call it. And he spent the next 10 years whipping people into a blood frenzy over Jews and how evil they were and everything. However, all of that fervor and hate and ire and vile, trashy insanity was already there in the background. It had already existed in Germany since the 1860s. This anti-Jewish thing already existed. Anti-immigrant hate has existed in the U.S. for a while now, right? Trump did not invent anti-immigrant hate. It's the same in Germany. Hitler did not invent anti-immigrant hate or anti-Jewish hate in their case. So the fact that these are from World War I rather than World War II is completely irrelevant. It means absolutely nothing. He used newspapers that are basically calling for a new Nazi revolution, either way you look at it. And that brings me to my final point. I think we're going to have to do full denazification efforts when a Democrat takes control again. denazification was very oppressive at the time, but for good reason, obviously. I mean, they just killed a whole bunch of people. We needed to get that under control as the United States. So here's how the denazification efforts kind of started and how they went. They did denazification for between a year and a half and 3 years, I believe. And it entailed banning the swastika from appearing on public property, banning preachers from preaching about politics. That one was particularly important. Just trying to think for a second. And maybe most importantly, they constructed this thing called Spruikhammer courts. And they sent every member of the Nazi Party through this court system. And they ranked them 1 to 5. If they were 5s, then it meant that they were members of the Nazi Party on paper, but they showed evidence of like fighting against the regime in one way or another. They were let off the hook. 4 was people who just weren't involved at all. They were technically a member on paper, but they didn't, participate in anything. They were let off the hook. Number 3 was people who were members and believers and active, going around and talking about it and spreading the good news, if you will. 4 were people directly involved in the party, like block wardens or leaders of the Hitler Youth or whatever. And 5 were arch criminals, Hitler's inner circle. Anybody that was 3 or lower pretty much faced consequences for their actions. If they were involved in the party and true believers, they were charged with war crimes. Although the less involvement that they had in the whole thing, the lower their sentence was. And they could also get something called Persilschein letters. Persil was the fabric detergent, the laundry detergent that they used. And you could get a Persilschein letter from a victim, a Jew, like anybody, a victim of the Nazi system. Commonly Jews would write these Persilschein letters for people. In one case, a guy named Victor Brack, I think, something Brack, wrote a letter to somebody that was in a concentration camp where he was the guard. And Brack asked the guy for a Persilschein letter. He said, "I didn't do anything to you, and I'm hoping that you can vouch for me." And the guy's wife wrote back and said, "My husband has been up through, countless nights thinking this over and determined that this would be impossible because as you didn't do anything to him, that is not sufficient as the basis upon which we need to rebuild society. All right, you didn't do anything, but you watched while other people did it. That's not good enough, basically." I don't know which parts of this we're going to need to implement when we eventually take control again. But if we don't do that, if we don't denazify, this is going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to get populist, extremist, right-wing nutcases taking control and trampling all over everyone's rights and sending them to fucking concentration camps again. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Will we get an opportunity to denazify? Should we denazify? And what of those denazification tactics should we implement if the time came? Tell me your thoughts.
We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon.
There's a bill voted on in the House recently. This isn't like one of those things where you have to get a certain number of votes or whatever. This was an amendment to a bill that took a simple vote. How many Republicans want this? How many Democrats want it? And that's it. That's how it goes. The amendment of the bill basically said, should ICE be allowed to arrest, detain, and deport U.S. citizens? And wouldn't you believe it? Every Republican voted yes, they should be allowed to arrest, detain, and deport U.S. citizens. What the fuck is going on? Listen to this. This is the woman basically breaking the bill down before the vote.
My amendment is simple, and I hope that it has bipartisan support. It simply states that none of the funds in this bill may be used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain or deport U.S. citizens. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I hope we can all agree that U.S. citizens should never be detained by ICE or any agency conducting civil immigration enforcement. They certainly should not be deported.
Yeah, why would they? They're U.S. citizens. Where the hell would you even put them? You know, there's an answer to that. CCOT, the concentration camp in El Salvador. That's where. This should be disturbing to literally everybody.
This should not be a partisan issue. It's about protecting the most basic constitutional rights of U.S. citizens. My Republican colleagues have loved to profess their commitment to the rule of law, and yet they remain silent as this administration tramples on the civil rights of U.S. citizens under the guise of immigration enforcement. ICE has zero authority to even detain U.S. citizens, as ICE's own policy states, quote, as a matter of law, ICE cannot assert its civil immigration enforcement authority to arrest and or detain a U.S. citizen.
So ICE already acknowledges they're not legally allowed to do this. However, they've been doing it. They've been completely ignoring the rules and doing it. And this little amendment here, super basic thing, just reinforces that ICE can't do this by refusing to give them funding, by refusing to allow them to build detention centers intended for or used for U.S. citizens. And Republicans couldn't even vote on that. They couldn't even prevent that. These people are so weak. These Republicans are so weak. I understand that they need to worry about their political careers or whatever, you know, because Donald Trump will come after them like a rabid dog if they vote in a way he does not approve of. But this is literally why you're here. I hate to tell you, Republican congressman or Republican senator or whatever, but when you took this job, you tacitly agreed that your head would be the first one to go if a tyrannical dictatorship rose up. You tacitly agreed that if a dictatorship appeared and disagreed with a position that you held, left or right, or more specifically, disagreed with the Constitution, you are the first one to go. You should be the one standing in front of the guillotine to prevent anybody else from walking up. That is your job. That is what you are here for. Okay, if you are afraid you'll lose an election, then you don't deserve to be in the position in the first place. But here we are. They're, just doing it anyway, completely ignoring that obligation that they have to democracy.
So I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, that ICE's policy memo related to detaining U.S. citizens be placed into the record.
Without objection.
And yet, since the second Trump administration began, a troubling pattern has emerged with U.S. citizens being detained by immigration authorities. In late January, only days after President Trump was sworn in, 3 U.S. citizens were out shopping in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A toddler, his mother, and grandmother were detained and sent to an immigration detention center by immigration agents who questioned their immigration status just because they were speaking Spanish. Also in January, ICE arrested a U.S. citizen and held him for over 10 hours despite him having his identification documents on him.
Yeah, I talked about this one.
And just 2 weeks ago, a 19-year-old U.S. citizen from New Mexico, Jose Hermosillo,
now this is the one I talked about,
was detained by the Department of Homeland Security in Arizona and held for nearly 10 days. According to Mr. Hermosillo, he was in town to visit his girlfriend's family when he had a seizure and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Upon his release, Mr. Hermosillo approached a DHS official believing that the officer could help him. But instead, the officer accused him of being in the United States illegally and arrested him, despite Mr. Hermosillo saying that he was a U.S. citizen. Again, he was held for 10 days until his family was able to locate him. We're talking about a 19-year-old kid who was just released after having a seizure trying to get home. This is truly horrifying. Now, states like Florida are following this administration's dangerous and unlawful deport first and ask questions later approach.
Or detain first, at the very least. Just arrest them, throw them in an immigration center, and figure it out later.
Earlier this month, a 20-year-old U.S. citizen in Florida was jailed by local police under a state anti-immigrant law that has already been blocked by a federal judge. Following the arrest of this U.S.-born American, ICE issued a detainer request that the local police keep him in jail, even though ICE had zero authority to detain him.
So the point is that ICE is, in effect, the Gestapo now. They're effectively like an organization that is completely ignoring the law, completely ignoring it, doing whatever they want. And actually, here's the vote.
This amendment simply says that the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement shall not detain or deport a United States citizen. If you vote no on this, you are supporting the federal government either detaining and or deporting American citizens. I don't understand how you'll be able to look yourself in the face knowing that you voted to allow our federal government to detain and deport United States citizens simply because you do not want to vote against something that Donald Trump may support. Do you have a thought of your own? Do you have a belief of your own? Or is everything literally just whatever Donald Trump tells you it should be?
That one. It's that one.
You are going to vote no on this. We know you're going to vote no. And I'm interested to see if anybody asks you why you voted no on this, how you're going to spin it.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought that they actually took the vote here. Anyway, here's why it's so concerning to me, what's going on right now. Here's video footage of ICE showing up to a dude's house because the dude posted their pictures on, like, basically on pieces of paper around the town. Said ICE is here and they're doing this stuff. I thought that was covered under free speech. My mistake. They raided this dude's house. Here.
Come out with your hands up. Keep coming with your hands up. You got contact?
Because a dude used his free speech rights. This is Tom Homan, the head of ICE, another person who, if we're lucky, in 50 years, his face will be in a history book next to the word fascist or war criminal or arch criminal or Nazi. He said this.
Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
Just wait to see what's coming.
Why not?
Wait to see what's coming. Why not arrest people that are harboring? You know what? This is literally exactly what happened in Germany. Why not arrest people who are hiding people from, the immigration centers, the gulags, the concentration camps? Wait to see what's coming. Watch a little bit more of this.
Two questions. I got another media interview. What do you got?
All right.
The microphone, please, sir.
Mr. Owen, hey, Jordan Conrad's with Gateway Pundit. So, the president signed an executive order just this week threatening to defund sanctuary cities for their policies. Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
Okay. And, well, real quick,
Yeah, I mean, he also threatened AOC. He said, not only does he intend to arrest people who were harboring, quote unquote, undocumented or even documented immigrants from being renditioned to a concentration camp. Not only is he in favor of that, but he wants AOC investigated for simply telling people their constitutional rights. She got on a live stream and said, you don't have to open the door unless they have a warrant and stuff like that. And he said, he's coming for her. he recommended the DOJ investigate her for that. That is coming. People are going to be targeted for protecting other people from going to a concentration camp. I did not see it happening this fast, but we are definitely in Nazi Germany territory now. Seriously.
On the Wisconsin governor sending directives to state agencies to not comply with ICE and actually leave.
What about governors that are telling people not to comply with ICE?
Stop your deportation efforts.
Wait to see what's coming.
Any updates on the military?
I meant what I said. You cannot support what we're doing. And you can support sanctuary cities. That's what you want to do. But if you cross that line of impediment or knowingly harboring concealing illegal alien, that is a felony. And we're treated as such.
It's a felony to, like, for a governor to tell the state law enforcement not to enforce federal law. That is literally in the Constitution. States cannot be forced to enforce federal laws, separation of powers. That cannot possibly be a felony because that would be unconstitutional. Like, the dude's a monster. He is a monster. And when history books talk about this era, his face is going to be there. One way or another. I hope he's happy with that. I imagine he is, probably, actually. In addition to that, AOC actually responded to what he was saying.
They don't show you a warrant, you can say you can come back with a warrant.
They don't show you a warrant, tell him to come back with one.
You have the right to turn them away unless they have the proper paperwork or are coming in the proper way.
You have the right to turn them away unless they have the proper paperwork.
And when we first did one of these seminars, Tom Homan, then acting director of ICE, said that he was going to threaten to refer me to the DOJ.
Yeah, Tom Homan, director of ICE, said he was going to refer her to the DOJ for prosecution because she said what she just said. She told people, you don't have to open the door if they don't have a warrant.
Because I'm using my free speech rights in order to advise people of their constitutionally guaranteed protections, and he may want to do it again today. And so that I said, come for me.
That's a response to Tom Homan. I believe that Tom Homan and Trump and Stephen Miller, they don't plan to stop anywhere. There are no limits as to what they're willing to do. And I think it's pretty clear what Trump's strategy is now. It's to pretend that he didn't realize that he misunderstood the Supreme Court ruling. My people told me that the Supreme Court ruled in my favor. My people are saying, my lawyers, they're telling me what to do, and they said blah, blah, blah. Plausible deniability while literally being a dictator. It's a joke. I mean, just to kind of put this into perspective, this is basically, ICE is effectively the Gestapo here. The Gestapo used to investigate people who were oppositional to the Nazi Party in one way or another or whatever. There's a system called the denouncement system, and people could call the police and denounce somebody and say, this person is not answering the phone with Heil Hitler. And the Gestapo investigated every single one, even the ones that were, even the cases where people were denounced, teachers were denounced for assigning too much homework. They even investigated those, everything. Most of the time, that stuff didn't come to anything. You know, the Gestapo would come, they'd interview some students, they'd talk to the teacher, maybe some of the coworkers, and then they'd go back and put it in a big filing cabinet, and that was it. When the Allies took Germany in World War II, after World War II, they found a gigantic filing room with 12 million denouncement records, like 12 million different people who had been denounced one way or another. The Gestapo used to investigate people and have them sent to concentration camps. And that is effectively the role that ICE is playing now. Auschwitz was in Poland, outside of Germany. Germany put concentration camps outside of their borders, a lot of the time, their original borders anyway, because it was out of the reach of reporters. It was harder to access for normal Germans, like Guantanamo Bay, like Sikot, And for anybody confused by the hierarchy of like who the Gestapo was, who the SS was, who the brown shirts were, that was intentional. It was a mess. Nobody really knew how it worked except for Hitler, so everybody had to report back to him to figure out who they're supposed to talk to. Germany was banned from having more than 100,000 men in their military after World War I. They were banned from having more than that by the Treaty of Versailles. So they had the Wehrmacht, which was the German military, and they also had a paramilitary group, kind of like the Proud Boys, called the Brown Shirts. And the Brown Shirts eventually morphed into the SA. The SA was what eventually became like a kind of like a unit of the military, but not exactly a unit. It was the military, effectively. The SS, the Schutzstaffel, split off from the SA, from the Brown Shirts, and became an elite little group of people who were like acting as Hitler's bodyguards and stuff. And eventually the way that it split was the SA acted as the military, effectively, and the SS acted as civil authorities, effectively. So they were like the police, they were the Gestapo, and all the way up the chain. Like any police enforcement was SS. Anybody fighting on the lines was Wehrmacht or SA. And don't get me started on the military branch of the SS. Like, it's such a confusing mess. It's so stupid. Anyway, the point is that the Gestapo is made up of SS people. And Tom Homan is effectively a Gestapo agent, one of the people that is responsible for sending people to concentration camps and threatening people, threatening them, creating the chilling effect to prevent anybody from opposing what's happening vocally. He says he intends to arrest governors that oppose him. That's pretty chilling. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments.
That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.